domestic violence? Because when we talk about, DV, domestic violence, a lot of us always think about, the physical assault in itself.
Yes.
But looking at it legally, what counts as, domestic violence?
So domestic violence, as has been, they have said, people just assume it has to be physical for it to be termed as domestic violence. But in reality, domestic violence, especially as has been defined under the Protection Against I'd like calling it PADVA, Protection Against Domestic Violence Act 2015. It has given a broad definition to domestic violence, which include, apart from physical violence, sexual violence, economic abuse. That's something most people don't consider as domestic violence because, for instance, your husband making you not to go to work so that they can control you in one way financially. That's considered, it also falls under domestic violence. Even emotional abuse. They have said even stalking, intimidation, when they have talked about online harassment, like someone maybe sending you texts, threatening texts, that falls under domestic violence. Yeah, it's not only about being, someone doesn't have to get physical for you to term it as domestic violence. Yeah.
Are there cases that are not recognized in law? Because I'm looking at it from really just a broader perspective. If, like I said, a lot of us just equate domestic violence to physical assault, then perhaps there have been gaps in the way domestic violence is communicated, to people, into Kenyans, each and every person in the country. Then are there cases that don't legally qualify as domestic violence in courts?
No, before the act is when there were a lot of gaps, before the PADVA Act, Prevention Against Domestic Violence Act, because now people had to rely on the Penal Code or the Sexual Offences Act, which narrowly defined what domestic violence is. But now with PADVA, at least things, it has broadened it. So it becomes, so what happens is, I normally say, it will depend, best court is the one that will determine. For instance, if you have taken a case where you're seeking maybe protection orders or temporary protection orders, court will determine what falls into, what will fall under, what amounts to domestic violence. But I think also the problem now is who can you sue for domestic violence? Because they've just said the act defines it that people are in domestic relationship. I think now that's where the most issue comes in. Like, because when you go and say someone, you're claiming there's domestic violence against, you're maybe suing someone, that person has to be in a domestic relationship with you. So sometimes now court has to, like before court proceeds or makes a decision, they have to confirm that that person falls within the definition of domestic relationship. I think that's where now the major issue is. Yeah.